Welcome back to Spring Boot Learning. So in the last part we learned a lot of things about the application, how we can create Spring Boot application with the help of starter spring.io, and how to create that project and how to download it, how to add Maven project in our IDE, and how to run that application. So in this part we are going to learn about package structure of Spring Boot application. So let's start with the project structure. So basically Maven standard directory structures is like, if you see the left hand side, we have n number of different packages right now. So one is your source main Java, another one is source main resources, and then source test Java. So we are going to look into that all the packages and in what part we are adding what type of code. So let's start. So when it's come to the source main Java, so whatever your Java source code is there, you are going to add those code in that source main Java. Source main resources, so whatever your configuration and property files which is used by your application, that we are going to add in resources package. Source test Java, so whatever that unit testing source code is there, we are going to add in that testing package. And when we created application, so if you notice we have two different extra files, that is mvenw and mvenw cmd. So that is basically your Maven wrapper files. So what exactly those wrapper files? So mvenw allow you to run your Maven project. So no need to install any Maven, or if it is not present on your build path, still you can run your Spring Boot application. And again mvenw file is helping us whenever we don't have any correct version of Maven, still it is able to run your application. So how it works is automatically download that correct version from that central repository in your local system, and then it help us to run your application. So why they provided two different files like mvenw and mvenw.cmd? So we have two files. One is mvenw cmd, that is basically is for your MS Windows operating system, and if you want to run our application with the help of mvenw.cmd file, so we can follow the same command mvenw clean compile test. And another file is mvenw.sh, that is basically for your Linux and Mac OS, and if we want to run those application with the help of mvenw.sh file, we can use the following command like /mvenw clean compile install. This is about like whenever you don't have Maven installed in your system, or you don't have a correct version in your system. But what if we already installed Maven and we have correct version of Maven? So how it will work? What will happen that time? So if you have the correct version, or if you have already Maven installed in our system, then simply you can just ignore those files, or you can simply delete those files. That is not a mandatory part. And at that time, if you have Maven installed in your system, so you need to just simply run the command mvn clean compile test. We have pom.xml file on our package structure. So what is the purpose of pom.xml file? So we already learned about Maven applications. So pom.xml file is basically to hold your all the dependencies and properties, but we are going in detail of that file right now. So it holds all your application information like group ID, artifact ID, your application name, version, and any description. Again, it keeps all the detail of your dependencies, so no need to install or no need to add any jar file in your project. Simply you can add those dependencies and automatically it will download those dependencies from your central repository in your local system, and then it helps us to run our application. So we have one important dependency which is Spring Boot starter web. So basically it is collection of Maven dependencies. It is compatible versions of your application. And what type of file it keeps? So basically like Spring Web MVC, Hibernate Validator, Tomcat, JSON, this type of files they are containing, that Java files are containing. So pom.xml file really help us to save developer time to list all the individual dependencies and also make sure you have compatible version of your application. So how it works basically, like we no need to go to the each and every directory and or each and every repository to search that specific jar file and download it and add in your application and set it to the build path. So by default your Spring Boot is doing all the stuff for you. Simply your pom.xml is, first of all, it will look into your local repository, which is .m2 directory. If that specific jar file is available on your local system, so it will run those jar file automatically. But if you don't have any specific jar file, so it will go to the central repository and from there it will download first and then it will run your application. So this is how your pom.xml works. Again, pom.xml is having another setup code which is build plugin. So what exactly that plugin? To package executable jar or var to the archive can also easily run your application. So it helps us to easily run our application, and with the help of these commands you can run your application with the help of command prompt like /mvn package and /mvn spring -boot :run. And if you have already installed Maven in your system, so simply you can run Maven package and Maven spring -boot :run. Okay, this is all the basic structure of your application. So we'll jump into the all those files. So guys, I told you about like if you are getting any error in Eclipse, so you can add only this version here, plugin version. But what exactly this property and this parent? So basically parent is holding all the information of your application and Spring Boot starter parent, and it is containing all the basic installations and what dependency I want to install. So if you see here, we are not specifying any dependency version, but whatever our parent version is there, by default it will just hit my central repository and from there it will get all that dependency related to this same version. So now automatically it will handle all the version controlling, so no need to do it explicitly from our end. So this is the biggest benefit of Spring Boot application. And again, the another stuff I told you, like property. So in the property you can set up your Java version or you can set up your Maven version. So when you will update your project, so automatically it will set up all these things. So if you notice here, I have Java SE version is 1.8. I'm going to change it like 12. I'm going to save this application and simply I'm going to upload it. So right click Maven and click on update project. Simply you can force update. If you update your application, it will rebuild it and it will load all the files and it will create your application with the Java 12 version. So initially we have two different files. We created this controller package, but when we created our application, so by default we have that file, first demo application.java. By default it is created. So we are going in detail of that. So what exactly code we are writing in that file. So main Spring application class created by your Spring initializer and hello Spring Boot controller, that we created that file in the last session. So if you not yet completed with that session, so please go and check that session. That link is provided in description, and also you will get this. If you click on the I button, you will get this link. So let's go through with the file first demo application.java. So this is what the source code we are going to write in that application file and what exactly the things there are. So if you see that this is a simple main method, but this is not a simple main method. There we have some magic. If you see, we have one annotation @Spring Boot application, and that is present in your org Spring Framework location. So why we are using this annotation Spring Boot application? So it enables auto configuration, component scanning, and some additional configuration and bin creations. And in that annotation, by default we are getting this pre-built annotations, which is @enable auto configuration, @component scan, and @configuration. So let's understand each and every annotation, why we are using those annotations. So annotation, Spring Boot application @enable auto configuration. Basically it enables Spring Boot auto configuration support. Component scan, enable your component scanning of your current package. Also recursively it scan your sub packages. If your application on the same package structure where your root file is present, like basically your main file is present, and on the same path if you have all the controllers and all repository and service packages, so automatically it will scan all those packages without giving this annotation. @configuration, it able to register extra beans with the help of @bean annotation, or you can import other configuration classes as well. So if you see component scan and configuration, these are the same annotation that we already used in our traditional Spring applications, and that all annotation is grouped in only a single annotation, that is Spring Boot application. Okay, this is more about your Spring Boot application, but we have another package which is Spring application. So what exactly that import or that package? So basically if you see that application, in the main method we have Spring application.run method, and there we are providing our class name with the class extension and argument, set of arguments. So basically Spring application, it's bootstrap your Spring Boot application. It tells that I want to run my application. So this is not a simple Java application, it is some web dynamic application. So behind the scene, what exactly going on? So it create application context and register all the beans and start your embedded server like Tomcat and etc. So your first demo application, which is basically your class name with the help of class extension, and it helps us to run the same file. Okay, so now we'll jump into the component scan, how it works. Component scanning. So this implicitly defines a base search package, allow you to leverage default component scanning, and no need to explicitly reference each and every base packages. Like if you have the base package at your root level, so you can automatically use those all the packages. So what exactly the meaning of no need to explicitly reference to the base package name? So basically is what, like it automatically creates that package and it follow the same structure. So why we require? Because anyone can write a simple, they can make a simple mistakes over there. They can write wrong package name, and before the traditional Spring applications, there we have a lot of the things to do all the setup manually, like context and all the setting the paths. So that time it might be some scenarios where we can do the some typo mistakes or spelling mistakes. So it completely avoid in your Spring Boot application, and you can place your main application class in the root package and above your other packages. So this is basically a best practice that we followed in organization. So let's jump into the component scanning in depth. So your main Spring Boot application class file, it automatically scan all your component and all your sub packages. So if you see, first demo application is at your root level, and then all the controllers and whatever the package we are going to create, that will be at the sub packages. So it automatically includes your controller package or all the sub packages. So if you see first demo application, that is your root level, and right now we created few more packages like controller, DAO, DTO, entity, utils. So this include your sub packages, and any other sub packages you created can give them any name, you can give anything, but automatically your component scan will add those packages at your component level. So no need to tell explicitly from your end. But what if I don't have any root package or I'm not following the same standard? If you see, I have some extra packages that is not the same package structure what I followed, like com codedictator dot first demo, and the other packages are like org kodi.io.utils and edu.demo.learning. So how to add these packages at the component scanning? So here is a code. with the help of scan base packages, and we can pass array of all the strings. So basically string is like your all the package structure, and your scan base package will tell your Spring Boot application that okay, hey Spring Boot application, I want to follow all these packages. Whenever you are doing component scanning, so please go through of these packages as well. Here you will get some more code. So this is what the purpose of your scan based packages, that help us to go through of your all different packages as well, if it is not at your root level or root package, or it is not following the same package structure. Explicitly you can list all the base package to the scanning. So let's go with the application property file. So if you see our package structure, there we have source, main, resources. In the resources we have application property file, and by default this file is created and it load your property while Spring Boot will load. That time it load your application property files created by your Spring initializer, and at the beginning it is completely empty, so we can set all the properties over there. So what kind of property we can set? So we can add Spring Boot properties, like if I want to change the port, so by default it's running on 8080, so I can change that port like server.port, and I can change it like 8081. And also we can add our custom properties, like if I want to set some name or some extra property, that is my custom property, like channel.name, and that is code dictator, or creator.name, which is Kalpesh. And you can set all the different type of properties which are pre-built, like if I want to add any database, so I can use data source, or if I want to add any JMS services, so I can use mailing service package or the properties over there. I can set like database root or password, like password and IDs over there. So guys, if you not yet followed my channel, so please subscribe my channel, like and share with your friends, because sharing is caring, and hit the bell icon so you will get all the notifications in future. Okay, so let's jump and learn more about your property file and what type of property we can set, and how we can use those properties. So how it loads automatically, how it works behind the scene. So just take an example. This is what our package structure. In the source resource we have application.property file, and we have these properties. We already done with these properties like server port and channel name and creator name. But how to access those property in my controller? So we have one special annotation which is called @value, and there we can pass our value, or simply we can set those property name, like followed by your dollar symbol in curly parenthesis, like channel name. So that will consider as a variable, and whatever the value which is assigned for that variable, that will automatically bind with your that specific variable, like private string channel name. So channel.name, and whatever the property is binded with that, it will come inside your channel name. The same way, if you see creator name, so that will automatically add, and it will set those property to your creator name variable. So you can access those variable anywhere, and don't worry, just bear with me, we are going to perform this entire thing practically. Okay, what if I have some static package or static files in my application? So if you see the package structure, we have source, main and resources. So inside that resources we have different type of folders, so static and templates. So in the static, that is by default created, and whenever I want to add any HTML file or CSS, JavaScript file or any images, so we can add those files inside your static package. And the similar way we can add template in our source, main, resources. Inside that we have templates package, there we can add all the template. So learn more about the templates. So your Spring Boot includes auto configuration for following template engines like FreeMaker or Thymelef or Mustache. So that by default that template package directory is created, and Thymelef is popular template engine. We will use it later on in our course. Okay, so if I want to add any unit testing, I want to perform like Mockito testing or JUnit testing, so where I can write those code? So in my source, main, So basically source and test. So we have that file, and there we are going to write our all the test package. So we can follow the same package structure what we followed for our source main Java. Similar package structure we can follow over there, and we can write our all the test cases inside that. So we can perform mock-it testing or JUnit testing over there. So in next section we are going to perform all these things practically. So we'll meet there.